your hosts, Nina Soul
and Patrick Wilson
of Elements, a monthly dance ritual based in Oakland, California, centered around deep and soulful Black House music. In this podcast, we host conversations with artists and creatives on dance culture. In this episode, we sit down with NYC-based cultural producer Ian Friday as he shares stories of his New York City upbringing, including experiencing the Paradise Garage at a young age, how he found his musical voice, and what keeps him inspired after decades in the game.
One time. How you feel?
Hey everyone, my name is Nina Soul.
I'm Patrick Wilson.
And we have here today an incredible guest who will be rocking our Elements Juneteenth party tomorrow. The one and only Ian Friday.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Oakland.
Oh, it's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful.
I had so many good things about the party, so I'm excited to experience it and participate, contribute to vibes.
Absolutely. Well, we were just saying there couldn't be a more perfect guest for Juneteenth. But
don't make me blush. Don't make a black man blush.
Just so happy to have you. And, you know, we like to take the opportunity to get to know the man behind the music a little bit more.
Okay.
And we usually start off with, you know, who is Ian Friday?
Wow. It's like a therapy session. Dig deep. Actually I've been meditating on who I am now versus who I wanted to be. I've done a lot of things over the years, and I think if I was going to have an elevator pitch, it would be that I'm a producer of events, of experiences. You know, I'm always interested in bringing people together. I'm interested in creating platforms where there can be cultural exchange, allowing people to just be them. You know, come as you are is why I love house music. True. Personally, you know, was it something that you had to dress up to participate anyway? You didn't have to do a particular dance. You just come as you are. And so I'm interested, I've been inspired by the culture. A variety of cultures, of diversity, diverse cultures, being able to be as they are communally. And they kind of created a whole experience through that exchange. So that's what I'm about. In whatever I do, whether that is music, global soul music, which is all these divergent parts of myself. I'm a first generation Caribbean American person, so growing up in New York and Brooklyn specifically, where you walk down one neighborhood, there's Latin music playing, African music playing, Brazilian music playing, and we are all acting together, you know, having friends from all different parts of the world, and just enjoying what music and food and art and culture can do in terms of bringing people together. So that's really the spirit of global soul music. And everything that I do, I bake shells, Color Girls Museum in Philadelphia. It's really just creating platforms to bring people together, rooted in my blackness,
yes,
but in a universal global kind of perspective.
Here to see you.
That okay? That makes sense?
Absolutely.
Clearly you've thought about it. No, I love it. And I think one thing that comes across, whether it's listening to music, it's watching your live streams and seeing the videos and the dancing, is that you are creative and that you are an artist. As in, I think I read somewhere that you were a poet, or maybe are a poet. And so I'd love to know, like, what was your journey into house music? Do you feel like you've always kind of been in the music, in the culture? Do you feel like you came into it at a certain point in your life? What was that journey like?
Oh, It's really therapy today. I'm teasing you. My journey into house, I've been, I guess, in the first class of house, hip hop, dance hall. Again, and talk about New York and Brooklyn, where all these music art forms kind of coming up in my own youth. And so, hip hop was underground. Dance hall was underground. So late night, you might listen to Mr. Magic to check out some hip hop, or Gil Bailey to check out the new dance hall Yellow Man tracks. But then it was Tony Humphries and Timmy Regisford. Before it was called House Cities Club, and it was on the radio, prime time. And so, growing up in that time, where you can go to a party, you hear all these different styles of music, more party. You have to also think that pop music was also dance music at the time. So it was Michael Jackson making dance music, and Prince making dance music, and Madonna making dance music, and then all the other musics that come underneath that, freestyle. Again, we had all this stuff happening. I don't know if it was happening the same way in other places. I think at the time when it was like regional music. So you have artists like D-Train that's kind of R&B, but up-tempo. Like, again, dance music was a little slower. Hip-hop was a little faster. And so you could actually, as a DJ, mix all these things together. And people's ears were open to that. But I was 17, in college, and then brought to the Paradise Garage, legendary Paradise Garage. And it blew my mind. Never had an experience like that before. 3,000 kids, music, sound system was incredible. A DJ that really has been able to impact the ambiance of a club with lighting effects, visual effects in the 80s. So we talk about live streaming now, we talk about my Twitch show now. I've been chasing this idea for 40 years. Yeah. And now the technology has allowed us to do what this creative started. Mm-hmm. Right? But again, in New York City, you could be a hip hop head, as that was coming, you could be a house head as that was coming. And there was something about the culture, as I stated before, where you come as you are. And I'm already an artist, creative person. So hip hop, I would say I'm from the hood, but I'm not of the hood. Mm-hmm. Right? So hip hop is his own thing. I was there to start my DJ career, or my love of DJing. I always bring this brother up. I'm in high school, Special T, Timothy Snipes, living in Evans Field. We would walk to his house just to watch him cut and sketch. So I fell in love with that part of the culture. Mm-hmm. But I came from a dance floor. I was pop rocking. I was popping. I was part of the, what's it called? It wasn't the Incredible Body Mechanics. I forgot the group I was part of. So there are all these different elements of expression, dancing, DJing, coming together. Then you didn't have to be like hip hop. You have to be dressed a certain way, have to get sounds, have the, Kango thing, the dance hall, the same sort of thing. But for me, being culturally a fusion of my parents being from the Caribbean, me being first generation American, and all these different cultures intersecting, I felt like I was a new thing. Right? So, house was appealing in that way. And it has to fit any parts of myself. I could be my full self, authentically, in this thing. Peace and love versus, Shoot.
I think I probably have more musical questions for you. I was first exposed to you and your sound, hearing some of the cassettes from your tea party. And just the vast amount of music you played, the way you weave through all different genres, was just mind-blowing.
But you just dated me. Talking about cassettes.
So I really want to know, musically, who are some of your big influences as far as who exposed you to the different types of sounds that you play? Who I know you mentioned a few DJs, but as far as like when it comes to club, is there anyone or someone in particular that you could, point to?
Of course.
You remind me when I hear, your different sets. It reminds me a lot of Carlos Sanchez. And
Interesting.
Tim Lightfoot. And those types of folks.
So we're the same, we're in the same class, same age bracket. And again, it's really harkens back to New York at that time. The level of diversity, access to space. We're all talking about gentrification on a global scale in a time where you can find a space in New York City easily, throw a party, have some flyers out, and interested and curious people would come to check you out, or you would go check people out. And the importance of the record store as a community hub where you can be introduced to new sounds through the people that are there in fellowship, like, hey, check this record out. So these elements really help to shape my musical palette.
Yes.
I will say Tony Humphries was a big influence in terms of his DJ style. He was on our commercial radio. So if you had my cassettes, I had his cassettes to be registered. And specifically in that time period of the Tea Party, I was blessed to have other artist-minded people in the room that was open.
Kevin Harris comes to mind.
Music. But as a DJ, as a presenter, sometimes you are as free as your audience. So if your audience is free, so in those days, kids might brought me a hip hop Biggie record, like, yo, this is what's happening, and I played it, or a Beanie Man record, or a jazz record, because we were hippies. And really my influences, like a Larry Levan, people put him in the box, but he was so far ahead. He played hip hop. He played up tempo. He played down tempo. He played full range of music. So again, in terms of cultivating your ear and your aesthetic, then you're in the ballpark. Just like, okay, you see it work. Timmy would play a jazz record, Love Supreme at the club. So when you start doing your own thing, you find your own voice. So that's why I talk about, I went to Ghana in 98. And that really, again, my upbringing, in terms of music I heard in my home coming up. But then traveling, you just get influenced by the sounds of work. And so if you go to a party, now I remember being in Barcelona before the Olympics in 92, partying, and you're like, oh, that's cool. I don't know that music. But I can use that, I can work with that. What's that record, or what's that song? And I've always been interested in music. And whether that is to play out, or for my own enjoyment. And then you're challenging yourself as a DJ to see, okay, well, how do I they create this musical quilt. And then this patchwork quilt of sounds. And again, if you're lucky to have an audience in front of you that's as open as you want to be, isn't it? Freedom. Yeah. Freedom.
How would you say your music has evolved from you first? I'm talking production now. From you first getting into production versus now. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think I hear a little bit more of where you're from in songs too that you can read this.
It's interesting because, as you go, you create from where you are.
Yes.
Creating music was like learning a new language for me. And as much as I loved it, as much as I played it, as a DJ, producing is a whole different mode of expression.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been really blessed to have, again, the record shop. Mm-hmm. So Frankie Feliciano could be a mentor. Antonio Ocasio could be a mentor. Mm-hmm. MKL, various people that lived in, New York that I met at the record shop.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started producing, when I was like, okay, I don't know how the laptop is not coming on. What do I do? What buttons do I press, right? But then as a creative, where you're coming, like Carib's Leap was my first record.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like my Caribbeanness. Like Carib's Leap is a place
mm-hmm.
in Grenada where Carib Indians, rather than be taken by the British, left to their death. It's a freedom song. Byron Moore, we were working on Life Starts Today, and I was like, let's put this little vocal on this project. I mean, most people play the instrumental, even there is a vocal version, right? So, like that whole project, the Island Life EP really reflects my islandness. I think as a producer, as I continue to grow and learn the language of producing, I always say Blaze is great, Kevin Cage and Josh Milan, mentors, great influences in that way for me. So then you start to try to, how can I sound like them? Right? Whether, make it more soulful, Jersey, black, But I always, if you listen to the drums of Life Starts Today, it still has that sort of Caribbean Asian. Mm-hmm. But I was attempting to sort of put a soulful spin on the production. Mm-hmm. So, like, if I listen back, I could hear the things that I was trying to do. I was trying to figure out. I think where I am now is like full circle. Where you're trying to, I don't want to be too much of me. You don't want to have just one sound. Mm-hmm. I think I've learned my language, my aesthetic. I may get to play around in different kind of films. But still, I've worked with different musicians over the years, but there is still a vibe of sound. So I've been blessed in that way. So the progression is really just trying to be more proficient, be more polished. But as DJs, one of the things that I said, and I said this recently, I have my producing head and I have my DJ head. And I'm always trying to my DJ taste, my musical taste for the DJ, I respect that at the highest level. Mm-hmm. The producer, there's some records that I've done that I don't quit. Mm-hmm. It might be a job. I might think it's good, you have to deliver. Mm-hmm. But the DJ might be like, okay, it's cool. I mean, that's just honest. Mm-hmm. But I always respect him. And I'm always trying to satisfy him, his gift, which is always evolving. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't want to be talking crazy. We are tape now.
I guess one of the other questions I have is, how do you feel about the house community or house scene now? Are you seeing that there's a new generation coming in, or
You trying to be controversial right now? This is the controversial part. No, this is how we get the clicks.
that's what we got.
Teasing me. So what you're asking me? What do I think about the state of our scene?
Right. Can you physically see a new generation of folks coming into the house in your house scene?
You know, I've been doing this since college, right? So I always liken it to like that 4-year span. Graduate, then there's the next class, right? You know, I've been blessed to always, because I love it. I don't want to hold it. I want to see new people get turned on to it like I was. I think that for some, you know, the folk want to hold it in a particular place, whether or not that's vibe-wise, music-wise. But I will say, I'm proud to report that, you know, the next generation, this, you know, partying and coming together through music, sharing the way that we have is forever, right? It might not be exactly what it was when I was 17. I've seen it change. Again, the impact of having access to spaces is going to have an adverse effect on, you know, how we're able to sort of do what we've done.
Goodness.
But the beautiful thing is that, you know, young people find new ways, right? So, you know, New York City this last weekend, as I've been back, you know, I've been interested in going out. And of course, there are many summers to do in New York City. We're in the summertime season now, all the outdoor things. I went to Soul in the Horn, new people, diverse crowd, Red Alert. You know, so it's like intergenerational, which is really cool, which is what I'm always interested in. And then the next day I went to a place in Brooklyn that I've never been to before in my life. And I'm walking to the club, and I'm laughing at myself because I'm like, who are these children? They're like, to me, to my grown man eyes, these are boys and girls. You know, when you're driving and you see someone driving, you're like, how did they get their license? You're like, because they're 21. And they're like young men with baby fuzz, like they don't even have a full beard yet. Women, you know, you can tell by their bodies that they're young men and young women. And I go into the space that I've never been into before. And it's a dope party. And they're playing dope music.
Yes.
And it's young people. It's their way, it's their style, their vibe. Translated into, like, I'm like, okay, the thing was alive. Sometimes we hold it. And you just have to let the new people do how they want to do, right? And we talk about tradition, and we talk about, you know, the legends of our culture and all that, and we continue to hold that up, and that's important. You know, there are gatekeepers, there are people that still do the same that they've been doing for 30, 40 years at eye level. It's fantastic. But, you know, you guys, you know, your party is contributing to the newness. You know, I love it when folks say, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not going to wait to be put on. I'm not going to wait to be asked. I'm going to do my thing. Which is what I did, right? Because, you know, you have something that you want to share. You have something you want to get out. Something that you want people to experience in your way. And I think that, so the scene is very much alive. I'm excited about it. I've been able to go to different places around the world and to experience different things. I mean, and it's cool because you go to a chosen few and it's, 30,000 people, and you go to a house in the park and there's 15,000 people, and it's some new people, some older people, it's intergenerational, it's very familiar. But then because of the mixes, there's a level of openness. I mean, and this whole sort of festival thing that we've been on for the last 10 years, plus, it's a welcome addition to how this culture is expressed, right? Because you can't find a club, it's New York City, like Paradise Garage at 2,000 people. They ain't no space right now. But I mean, now I hear Deep Soulful did tell me that they're opening a space that's supposed to hold 4,000 people, which is unprecedented, right? So things do come full circle. They're not going to look like what they look like because it's just conditions that created those things in the past. We'd be living under new conditions. And because people looking at today, it's their world, it should reflect their mode of expression and community.
I'm curious if you see like timeless elements of a party. We talked about traveling, we talked about like the different forms and factors. But like, what are like the things that you consider being essential to be like element to eat?
Okay. Where my mind went, like there are certain elements that bring people together. Food is how we commune. And I want to say how Black people are, African diasporic people, how we come together around food, music, and comfort, and how we relax with one another. And I've seen it. I've seen it where, back in the day, you read about like the Harlem Renaissance and the wet parties, like, there's a spirit of release, like it's a necessary thing, whether or not you had a hard week, it's a challenging time, when you see people that are, as you say, free themselves up, because it's necessary. It's a church, those, like some of that stuff is beyond words. When they say it's a spiritual thing, like really blitz, you can tell when it's not a spiritual thing. And it's, I'm not judging it, when you commercialize anything, it does shift spirit. And how deep the commerce runs, then the spirit might run askew. But again, I don't judge that. Everybody's so different. But I receive your question as sort of like, how Black people, if I can say it, we're in Juneteenth, so and it's not, when I say it, because what I love about house is that it really is inclusive and it's for everybody. And it's how everybody's spirit. So it's the church of that, it's the fellowship of that. That I speak about, and when we're able to really so we're in an interesting time where there is a performative element because people are videotaping, they call taking pictures. There's a little bit of be everybody. But when you kind of can shut all that down and be really present and be connected, I mean, as DJs, as dancers, you've been in those moments where you feel so full. At least for me, it feels like I could feel everybody, and like it'll make me cry.
Yeah.
Because that God's in the room.
Yeah.
So but what you are looking for God be like, So, but elements for good parties globally is, again, it's like If I'm in Japan, I'm not going to expect the same sort of experience that I might get in South Side of Chicago. But, you can still feel what that Japanese freedom might feel like. One of the first times I played out there, it was a different time because I felt very far away and cut off. I felt very lonely, to be honest, because I didn't speak the language. The promoter didn't speak good English. It was hard. But then I'm playing party, and I remember playing like Stevie Wonder. And though the people could not speak English to me and I couldn't speak Japanese to them, they were singing every word of that song. And it touched me so deeply that this music was a conduit for our humanity. And that's when we can get to that space. Oh, you're in the right party. I think you're at the right party.
I do have a copy of a set you did on Shibuya FM.
Okay.
I don't know what year it was, and there's tracks that you played that I'm still looking for.
Oh. I did my job. But I did my job. Party, we don't take party lightly. I mean, it's fun, but when you really check out the magic of it, and then sometimes you lose, as party organizers, you kind of like behind the scenes, you see the club, but it's dirty, bathroom's gotta be washed, and you're setting up everything. But then there's that moment where, okay, it's transformed.
Yeah.
And people come into that,
Speaking of, are you still doing your libation parties?
Well, we just talked about it. I guess for my birthday in Edwin, the pandemic did something to, I think, us all. And I've been really just trying to figure out what I want to do. I probably have, not being anything, but I probably have more parties behind me than in front of me. And so I want to be very, very intentional about choices I make that way, because it is important to me. I don't want to just throw it away. But libation is super important to me. And I think I am ready. We did other libation things, join me. We have another one coming up this summer, and there's some other opportunities by way of spaces. But I'm also trying to, we're at a different time. Again, trying to find the right space, club owners that believe in the thing beyond, bar sales, all that type of stuff. When it's just how much can, your crowd bring. I mean, we're, as house music people, it is difficult to get clubs to believe in us because they don't drink like a hip-hop crowd might drink or a reggae crowd might drink. It just doesn't happen. I will blame Larry for that. Those garage kids that trained us not to drink. Because we just have a juice bar. So that's part of their culture, right? In other places in the world, they drink. Europeans drink. They drink. That's part of it. When they go clubbing, drinking is a big part of it, for sure. But yeah, I'm going to resume libation. I'm not quite sure of the form yet, but if they hear about it. But you see, you rock it, t-shirt, we got the shirt, we got the merch, babies. Set it up.
So on that same note, is there any chance of a Ian Friday album? My job is counting you for years.
That's fresh. You knew that. It's fresh. Well, no, that part I'm definitely on with now. I'm actually trying to schedule. I call Blaze Studio Mecca a mix of all records out there. And so we're putting up a schedule so we can mix the project. I've been working on it too. And really, I've been doing my band camp releases just to sort of ease myself back into process and practice and get y'all ready. But yeah, we got some things. We got some things.
Mark Francis and I have been taking inventory.
Mark Francis is the worst. He'll call like, yo, what about that? I'm like, how do you remember this record? You heard me play it one time. But that's I love all that kind of stuff. You guys motivate me, keep me honest. I really just want to be inspired. Want to put something different into the world. Again, being a producer, being an artist, creator, as you say. I want to put something that's so impactful. The business of music, the industry of music is not what it was when I started, as you know. So, does it make sense to put out an album? People ask for these things, but people kind of shop for music a la carte, right? When I was coming up, you played the whole album from beginning to end. The cover, the artwork was a part of the experience. Now everything's digital. People just want to hear. And like movies, records might have a 2 window of impact. Right. Like what becomes classic now. Movies are the movie theater for a week or two, and then they're streaming. So I think about it that way as a professional in the industry. How do you present, and what purpose does the music serve beyond just got that shit? Right. So people will ask, oh yeah, for years, that record, you didn't play that record. You put it out, and then once it's out, it's like, I played it now. I have it now. Yes. I put it with
what's next?
Yeah, what's next? I have thousands of other records. And then, they're like my children, so I wanted to kind of have meaning. If there's no one else, after myself too, where I feel like, okay, I said what I needed to say, and this as a reflection of me, my aesthetic, my journey. I mean, you have the hope that it's going to do something, touch people, but you never know. You just have to do your best.
I think that's why we feel this is so important. Because it gives people an opportunity to really just go beyond listening to a song someone may have remixed or produced, but actually, hear your voice, hear who you are, and what inspires you. Because, for me, a lot of your productions really inspire me to DJ. Keep DJing. I mean, the way you play music. So,
you humble me.
All of that is, I feel, is very important. And, as long as we are able to, have a platform where, again, people can listen and get to know the artist.
And beautiful music knows no bounds, so there doesn't have to be, four on the floor. We've created a platform, a space where, we feel really blessed that, we can follow the Malari tradition and bring the tempo down and bring it back up.
Sure. We talk about these older folk parties as the inspiration, and the hope is, bring something big, like we don't need to recycle.
Yeah.
And it's the passage of spirit.
Yeah.
Right? But because spirit has no body, it's gonna come out different. It's how it's you, gonna be different from how it's you, how it's me. But you feel it when it's right.
You feel it when it's right.
You feel it when it's right. So, I'm proud of you guys for sure. When we come out to hear you and I check you out, you're like, killing it. And you come and you come and killing it, So, the inspiration is, when you're in community with people, it's not one way, right? You come out. And so, yeah, I had no shame in hearing someone that was up in it. And oh, okay, let me go home and practice. And it's difficult when you do a thing for a long time to keep the fire. And so sometimes you do have to take a little bit of an air break, a fire break, so that you can come back to it. I can tell you what, when I started DJing, the amount of time I put in to just practice.
Yeah.
For myself, not for anyone, not to record it. Just my sister will tell you. She's like, yo, if you play the heck, try to do that one more time. Because, you become obsessed with it. If you love it, there's a level of obsession where you want to perfect it. Especially when you play records back in the day, and tempos are changing. You have to figure out when to drop a record, when he does pull it out and mix. That's one of the things that like a Tony made you crazy about, because he could hold the mix forever. Or Timmy knew how to slam a record at the right time. Again, as you developed your own aesthetic, but okay, that's what they did, but and I don't have access to those records too, right? So I could only mess around with the records that I have access to. And then, okay, well, let me check out this other. And I also worked in the radio college. So then there was like a lot of music, like the radio. So, okay, that's cool. I'm messing up with that. And then there's, regional. So I was in Connecticut, so, we playing some Nucleus jam on it. We playing some, give me the night and all that kind of clubby, freestyle type music in the mix. In the mix of it all. It wasn't all South Soul and prelude, And who inspires you guys? What inspired you to do this? Give me something now. Take me out the hot seat after this conversation.
Well, I say this all the time. Working with Patrick, it's like, it's still like a dream. I still pinch myself because I used to follow him around for years on the dance floor. He had no idea who I was. And I remember working up the courage to ask one of our friends while here, hey, you think Patrick will come play this party on Third in my backyard? Wow. And he's all tops. Now that I know Patrick, he probably didn't even hesitate because he just loves to play and loves the music and doesn't care. He cares, but as long as it feels right and it feels good. So yeah, to get the level of inspiration and just I look forward to every month. It's exciting. It's exciting playing with that. And intimidating.
Of course.
Extremely.
But then you do it. And there's something about your character too. Because it can be intimidating, but you do it. And I've seen you out in the world now, you jam it out. For real. I'm not even saying it because I'm sitting here, No, for real. I don't go out idly, I really do go out because I want to hear music, I want to hear what people are doing. And if you see me more than once, that means you're doing stuff. And this is like this, and we're in an interesting time. There's always been women DJ. We talk about men all the time. Well, there have been women that's been running. But we can't ignore the fact that there is a huge wave of DJs that are globally doing it. And they're bringing something new to it. I laugh now, right? Because I'm an old fat guy now. And I was talking to a DJ friend. I'm like, look at these young women that they're beautiful, they're fashionable, and rocky. Oh man, we can't compete. Man. We can't compete with that. But I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that you get to see a lot of different voices in the mix. I mean, I do have concerns about things becoming overly commercialized. I think the technology has made everyone a DJ. There's something to talk about, to talk about that. But then I can't deny that the technology's helped me along the way. In terms of music. Now, back in the day, you got to spend all this money to go into the studio. I can't wait to the game. Frankie, I remember Frankie was mentioning about, things changing. But when you're younger, then you're like, well, good for me. I can get my G4, tower, and I can do my thing. I can figure this out. But it is an interesting conversation to have with regards to the impact of technology and how it impacts the art form. And then on the other side too, like these silent disco parties gone weird. But I think these type of platforms, having these type of conversations are super important. I don't think we speak enough. Like we know each other, but like we face certain concerns globally. Again, finding spaces that those parties that we can come out how to promote music, the economics, and all that kind of stuff. And then I think there are strategies that if you share can help, with people delving to where.
Absolutely.
See, I got no problem talking. I can talk about this thing because I love this thing. I talk about this stuff. But we have a party tomorrow. I'm excited about that. I know we, Oakland, we be doing some mercenary roads, underground railroad, which is appropriate. But, we talked about how the last time we played together was at the end, which is eons ago. So I'm looking forward to sharing the space with all of you guys musically tomorrow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Oakland loves you.
Here. No, thank you. But I was, I know y'all gonna come try to kick the old guy's butts. You know what I'm saying? I got to go through the hard drive.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak and to be here. That spirit comes through your music and comes through your energy. It's always a pleasure to see you and connect. And we just can't wait for tomorrow. John, do your thing.
Well, onward and upward for you guys. Again, I'm excited for tomorrow, but I'm like, you guys have so many things going on. In the future, we're passing the baton to y'all. It's on y'all to keep this thing going. For sure. But I think it's some great vibes. Thank you. So I think, thank you. We appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Peace.